watching West Dakota Fox News at 9 with Anna Schleisman and meteorologist Henry Blakes. Your first news of the night starts right now on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
Honoring prisoners of war and those missing in action around the world is important to citizens and veterans alike. North Dakota legislators voted to fly the POW MIA flag outside of the state capitol, and today that became a reality. John Salling was there for the flag raising.
It already flies in front of the Heritage Center and the All Veterans Memorial. Now, it's also in front of the Capitol building itself, and its locations are protected by state law. Governor Burgum posed with veterans for the signing of the bill that placed the flag. The veterans say they're happy to share the history of it.
It was a promise by the government to look for all the POW MIAs from the Southeast Asia. At that time, it was just from the Vietnam War. And since then, it has transformed for all the wars.
Olson says there are 80,000 American soldiers still missing. A veteran from Mandan that had been a prisoner during the Korean War helped to raise the flag. Vern Huber is a retired colonel that had to eject from his plane off the coast of North Korea.
Unfortunately, they were shooting at me on the way down, which is taboo in warfare, but the North Koreans did it. I got hit in the left arm and had several holes in my parachute.
Huber was held by the North Koreans and the Chinese for more than a year before being released. In Bismarck, I'm John Salling for your News Leader.
A new two-year survey shows 60% of the people who visit Theodore Roosevelt National Park over the past 2 years were first-time visitors. Researchers from Kansas State University and Clemson University were in Medora presenting the data. The researchers said an overwhelming reason people visit the park to see the wildlife. They found 83% of the visitors they surveyed said they use a phone or mobile device to share their experience about the park. Well, Henry, can you share what weather we'll experience for the rest of the week?
Hey, right now we're still picking up on some light spotty showers across parts of central North Dakota. Those will gradually dissipate, but as we look closer at First Warning Sky Tracker Doppler radar, you're going to notice that across the central region, they are gradually coming to an end. Just some spotty rain showers. Other than that, we do have some more light to moderate rain across the James and Red River valleys from Grand Forks into Fargo and down into Aberdeen. But as this disturbance exits the region tonight, we can look forward to drier conditions for your Thursday, holding to 42 in Bismarck, Aberdeen, and Mobridge, 41 for Minot, 44 in Williston, Dickinson 38, and 36 for Hettinger, 43 in Sidney, Montana. What about your morning commute? Well, believe it or not, we're going to have decreasing cloud cover tonight and abundant sunshine as we wake up in the morning with temperatures near freezing. Anna, I'll have the rest of your forecast in just a few minutes.
Sounds good, Henry. Well, former Lyft driver convicted of gross sexual imposition was sentenced to 20 years in prison this morning. Corey Wickham was found guilty of sexually assaulting a passenger last year. Wickham was found guilty in January of assaulting the woman after dropping her off during a ride from Mandan to Bismarck. The case may be winding down, but it hurt many people on both the victims and the suspect's side. Daniela Hurtado has more from the courthouse.
Freedom signed away on the dotted line.
I promise you that I will not let this conviction destroy me. No matter what, I'm going to come out a better and stronger person than I came in as.
Wickham standing by his claims of innocence.
Regardless of any difference in our stories, after arriving at your parents' residence, I did not act professionally. In that moment, I should have shown better control.
The prosecution says there shouldn't be a doubt on anybody's mind of what actually happened that night.
But if Mr. Wickham had shown 1/10 of the respect that he had for his dog to the victim, none of this would have happened.
The victim spoke in court Wednesday wearing the same outfit from the night of her assault, saying during the trial people took advantage of every negative connotation that contributes to rape culture. She said, quote, "It's the same shoes, the same makeup, the same hairstyle, and the same jeans that are still blood-stained on the inside. If this type of clothing suggests women are asking to be violated, then our community has a much larger epidemic occurring." Wickham apologized in court to the woman, the lead detective on the case, and his mother. In Bismarck, I'm Daniela Hurtado for your news leader.
The woman says this case has affected her psychologically, emotionally, and physically. Wickham, like any other defendant, now has 90 days to appeal his case to the state's Supreme Court. Well, Berthold police arrested a 28-year-old Tawley man this morning after he led them on a high-speed chase through 2 counties. Police attempted a traffic stop in Carpio, but the driver fled on County Road 28, reaching speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour. After a 40-minute pursuit, the driver stopped and ran into a residence in Tawley. He was immediately arrested, and officers seized meth and drug paraphernalia from his vehicle. Bismarck police have released the name of the man who was hit by a car yesterday afternoon. 76-year-old Donald Ruby of Bismarck was riding his bike on a sidewalk in the 3400 block of Nebraska Drive when he was hit by a 17-year-old driver. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. A 15-year-old girl is in child protective services after a Minot couple let her smoke marijuana and forced her to drink alcohol. 30-year-old Willie Joe Knight and 37-year-old Colin Knight face child neglect charges after Willie Joe was arrested Sunday night for actual physical control of a vehicle while intoxicated. And the victim was in the car with her with a blood alcohol level of 0.164. She told investigators she was forced to drink several bottles of beer and vodka. The Knights will be arraigned June 6th. And the trial for a man accused of sexually assaulting a 4-year-old girl began today. 44-year-old Michael Pickle is charged with felony gross sexual imposition after the child told her legal guardians he assaulted her. Documents say Pickle admits letting the child swim in his pool and taking her to the bathroom to wash her off. But he denies sexual contact, saying her clothes were on the whole time. Pickle entered an Alford plea, meaning he maintains innocence, but agrees the state has enough evidence to convict him. Accusations of lying calls for resignation. Attorney General William Barr defending his summary of the Mueller report and his conclusion President Trump did not obstruct justice during the Russia investigation as legislators grilled him on Capitol Hill today. Omar Jimenez has highlights from the congressional hearing.
Contention on Capitol Hill as Democrats denounce Attorney General Bill Barr's handling of the Russia investigation.
You lied to Congress.
Minutes before Barr's testimony, the Justice Department released a March letter from Special Counsel Robert Mueller. In it, Mueller says Barr's summary of the investigation and conclusion the president did not obstruct justice, quote, did not fully capture the context, nature, and substance of this office's work and conclusions.
I decided to simply state what the bottom line conclusions were. Is there a crime or isn't there a crime?
Was there an underlying crime here?
No.
Democrats pounced.
If you received a letter from Bob Mueller a few days after your March 24th letter, it was clear he had some genuine concerns about what you had said and done to that point.
Yeah, his concerns was he wanted more added. I'm not trying to capture everything. I'm just trying to state the verdict.
16.
Republicans say the focus shouldn't be on Barr or the president, but on protecting future elections.
My takeaway from this report is that we've got a lot of work to do to defend democracy against the Russians and other bad actors.
On Capitol Hill, I'm Omar Jimenez.
Well, Barr plans to skip the House Judiciary Committee hearing tomorrow. Barr warned Democrats he won't appear if they question him about Russian interference in the 2016 election. But they voted to allow such questioning today, so he's declined to testify. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange was sentenced to 50 weeks in prison in the UK for violating his bail. The 47-year-old was wanted for questioning in Sweden on sexual assault and rape allegations when he entered the Ecuadorian embassy in 2012. Assange maintains innocence and says he didn't surrender because he didn't believe he would get a fair trial. He faces an extradition hearing tomorrow on a U.S. criminal conspiracy charge. And as violent protests against Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro continue, some say Russia is involved. U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton says the Cuban presence is stifling the people's voice, and Maduro would immediately fall if they left, but they're pawns in a bigger scheme.
The Russians like nothing better than putting a thumb in our eye. They're using the Cubans as surrogates. They'd love to get effective control of a country in this hemisphere. It's not ideological, it's just good old-fashioned power politics.
Acting Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan says they're working with Colombia and Brazil and are prepared for any situation. And U.S. military leaders stand ready to help. Well, paying for health care can be prohibitively expensive when you don't have some type of coverage. A state program to provide assistance has increased the income threshold for families to qualify. A family of 4 earning less than $48,000 a year is eligible for cost-sharing services. It helps cover care for more than 100 medical conditions like asthma or diabetes for children up to the age of 21. About 2,000 North Dakota families are in the program. To find out more, call 701-328-2436. A nonprofit that helps individuals with disabilities through therapeutic horseback riding got some help from Doosan Bobcat today. About 20 workers stepped off the equipment production line to help TR for Heart and Soul in Bismarck clean, organize, and prepare for a fundraiser. Bobcat employee Jenny Evans, whose daughter is on her 3rd horseback riding lesson there, says this is a great way to give back to the community.
Just seeing not just my daughter, but also the other kids that come out here that are in wheelchairs, that they get on these horses and they feel like they can fly.
Katie with TR says the volunteers have been a blessing. Doosan says of community service continues of next week on May 8th at Fast Track's BMX project. The University of Mary students are also taking part in a service project in a trip to Poland. 7 students are heading to Rudaslaska for the next 9 days to see how primary, secondary, and special needs schools operate there and teach kids about the American school system. Ashley Becker is looking forward to using this experience in her future career.
It's still so different with the rebuilding from communism and being able to see how they've been rebuilding their school systems, what part of education is important for them, how they're schooling their children, what their system looks like.
They'll be greeted by the town's mayor and will get a chance to share their school experiences with teens upon arrival. The group flies back next Thursday. Retirement home residents in Fargo and West Fargo got a pleasant surprise today. NDSU football players visited, showed off their newest championship rings, and signed autographs for a few of their senior fans. The rainy weather forced them inside, but it didn't put a damper on the fun.
The community is what makes this program such a special thing. You know, all the people that show up on Saturdays, that cheer for us, that give us all the support we have. I mean, I can't thank those people enough.
The football players say this was a great chance to interact with members of the community, and they hope to do it again. Well, coming up, when it comes to flooding, other Midwest states didn't get off as lucky as we did.
And when looking at the Williston Skywatch camera, it's a gorgeous evening with even better weather in store for Thursday. West Dakota Fox News at 9 will return.
Your latest weather forecast is here on West Dakota Fox News at 9.
A new state agency to conserve and protect the state's air, land, and water quality, which Governor Doug Burgum calls a top priority, was established on April 29th. The North Dakota Department of Environmental Quality was made possible by legislation passed in 2017 that separated the environmental health section from the North Dakota Department of Health, though they will continue to work together. A DOH team has been working towards this transition for 2 years. This is the first agency creation since 2009. Well, the Public Service Commission has approved a siting permit for a natural gas liquids pipeline project in McKenzie County. One Oak Bakken Pipeline plans to build the 77-mile-long pipeline to connect with another one in Richland County, Montana. It can carry more than 1.6 million gallons per day and will cost an estimated $125 million. Commissioners say it will help reduce flaring and benefit producers, landowners, and mineral rights owners. The Oil and Gas Division says about 500 barrels of brine spilled about 4 miles southwest of Ambrose yesterday. It happened at a well site operated by Goodnight Midstream. It says more than 300 barrels have been recovered so far. And spring planting is underway in North Dakota for such crops as wheat, canola, flax, and sugar beets. This week's USDA crop report says 10% of crops have been planted so far, which is behind the normal pace. Soil moisture is mostly adequate to surplus statewide, and cattle and calf conditions are mostly fair to good. Well, the delay in spring planting is partly due to flooding, which impacted homes, farmsteads, and businesses. So legislators and North Dakota Industrial Commission have authorized 2 disaster relief loans from the Bank of North Dakota. The Ag Pace Buy-Down Loan will help farmers and livestock producers replace and rebuild resources lost in the flooding, while the Rebuilders Loan Program will help affected residents. Anyone interested in these programs should contact their local lenders. Melting snow and heavy rains across the Midwest this spring have caused the Mississippi River to flood towns across Iowa, Illinois, and Missouri. This drone footage shows the devastation in Davenport, Iowa, after the water broke through a temporary barrier today. Rescue crews using boats to help people evacuate from cars and rooftops. It was expected to crest nearly 4 feet above major flood stage today. We definitely can't complain about the little bit of moisture we got here recently then, Henry.
Yeah, most definitely. The moisture is gradually dissipating across the south central region, across the east. You got a few more hours before things finally settle down. But as the days progress, we start to get a little bit more daylight each day. This is our Minot Skywatch camera. Let's take it over to Williston. You notice the cloud cover across the north has decreased, but across the south, we still have a bit of cloud cover across the Bismarck, Mandana area looking at the Capitol building. But Dickinson, your sky is clearing up nicely as well. So that's going to make way for decent conditions as we continue into your Thursday. First warning sky tracker Doppler radar. Let's zoom in once again to the central region where we still have a few spotty isolated showers here or there. Those are gradually dissipating, but we still got a little bit more work to do from Aberdeen all the way up through Fargo and Grand Forks, where you're still dealing with some rain showers. But these will push out of here tonight for you and make way for better conditions as we continue into your Thursday. Otherwise, any real severe weather activity is down in the southern plains and well down into Dallas and portions of eastern Oklahoma, where they are under a severe thunderstorm watch. Also, some lake effect snow impacting the northeast as well. Highs for today, mostly in the low to mid 40s. However, we had a few 50s for Williston and Sidney, 45 for Bismarck, 48 for Minot, 44 for Dickinson for the high, and 45 in both Mobridge and Jamestown, where a lot of us right now are in the mid to upper 30s and lower 40s. But with that clearing sky, a little bit on the cool side tonight, but then we'll be warming up a bit for tomorrow. The wind mostly out of the north and the east for now, between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Now, one thing we are going to be dealing with is fog, especially areas that have the showers for today. So most of central, eastern, north, and South Dakota, and portions of southwestern North Dakota. Fog will be developing after midnight, getting a bit thicker by 3 o'clock, but then expected to gradually lift at least during the mid to late morning hours, but the sunshine will definitely be here. As I mentioned, showers pushing out of here, a bit of fog for tonight. Otherwise, we will be talking about nice abundant sunshine for Thursday, and then the next storm system well to our north, but there will be enough energy to possibly develop a few pop-up showers or isolated thunderstorms across portions of far western North Dakota and eastern Montana. But still, regardless, many of us will remain on the dry side. So for tonight, those chances coming to an end. Otherwise, we will be in the low 30s. And then for tomorrow, we'll be talking about more sunshine. Remember, across the west, you will have that slight chance, only a 20% chance of a hit or miss shower and maybe a thunderstorm or two. Otherwise, we are talking about nice weather as we head into Friday and your weekend with highs in the 60s. A bit of a cool down for Saturday, but we should hold tight to those 50s into the middle of next week.
Well, after a popular type of drug caused nearly 24 deaths, the FDA is issuing a serious warning. All details after the break. A whooping cough outbreak near Missoula, Montana has health officials concerned. Missoula City County Health Department Director says there are now 14 confirmed cases of pertussis. Last Friday, there were just 7. Just as concerning, nearly 500 people have had close contact with the highly contagious disease. The health department is working with schools and affected families to identify these individuals. Well, continuing the fight against opioids, a mass lawsuit was filed against several opioid manufacturers. 27 West Virginia hospitals and 10 affiliates filed suit against several pharmaceutical companies, most notably McKesson, AmeriSource, Bergen, Cardinal Health, and the creator of OxyContin, Purdue Pharma, on accusations of criminal conspiracy.
We claim that they conspired together to create a false narrative that long-term opioid use for chronic pain was safe and the risk of addiction was low, when in fact they knew that neither was the case.
Farmer says in his 35 years practicing law, this is the most important case he has been involved with. As the battle on vaping rages, the FDA approved a new smokeless tobacco. Philip Morris developed IQOS, which heats tobacco to create an aerosol the user inhales instead of smoke or vapor. They say it has fewer toxic chemicals than cigarettes. Critics fear teens will become addicted as they did with Juul products. The FDA says it's legal to sell, but it isn't necessarily deemed safe. The U.S. launch is expected in a few months. The FDA also increasing warnings about some commonly used sleep aids. It says pills marketed under the names Lunesta, Sonata, and Ambien have been blamed for 20 deaths. The agency received reports of rare but serious injuries and deaths from sleepwalking, sleep driving, and other complex behaviors by those who took the drugs. They'll now require new black box labels, the agency's strictest warning. The Trump administration continues its legal pursuits against the Affordable Care Act, calling it unconstitutional in new court filings today. Government lawyers say instead of picking and choosing which provisions to invalidate, the entire law should go. The issue goes before an appeals court in July, which could tee up a Supreme Court case. Well, these troopers weren't lying down on the job. A sweet rescue is up next. A baby sea lion got to cruise in a cop car after it was rescued by California Highway Patrol. It was stranded on a major highway near San Francisco and willingly hopped into the patrol car when officers showed up to help. It was unharmed, but a veterinarian will conduct an exam before it's released back into the wild. Oh, I want to hold him. I want to pet him. He's so cute.
It is. And another thing that's great is our weather. Finally, we're going to have a little bit more sunshine as we wake up in the morning. Temperatures are going to be near freezing, light south wind, and highs in the 50s and 60s. Maybe a couple of hit and miss isolated showers and storms across the west during the afternoon. Otherwise, we're looking at pretty decent weather into the weekend.
Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. I like that 65.
Same here.
Yeah. All right, thanks so much. Have a good night.